Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talks about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Good morning. I'm just sitting over here drinking some coffee, getting ready for my Friday to lead into a Saturday. It's cold outside here in Colorado. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff today. We'll start by saying this. They got they got this no kings thing that's going on. And President Trump, in true fashion, I couldn't help it. I mean, it was probably the funniest thing that I think I've ever seen. President Trump comes out and says, for these No Kings rally, see if I can find it. Jiminy Christmas. There he goes. He put up a post. Where is it? I'm trying to find it. He was basically talking about the fact that thank goodness they have this no kings deal. I thought I was being replaced. And come on, I got to find it somewhere. It's got to be here somewhere. Anyway, he was making fun of it. He was making fun of it because it's such a ridiculous thing, and the left is just filled with absurdities. And so we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna dive into this no kings deal. And I want you to remember, there are 320 million people in the United States. And they're like millions and millions and millions of people are going to take to the street all over the place. I just don't think anybody has the appetite for it. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with this no kings deal. Then we're going to talk about Gavin Newsom. And we're going to talk about Democrat Socialists of America. This is crazy. This is crazy. And we're going to talk to E.M today. He's with us. Burlingame. Oh, you do? Let's put it up. This is Trump's post. A huge thank you for the No Kings protesters yesterday. I was very concerned a king was trying to take my place. But thanks to your tireless efforts. Great job, y'all. That caused everyone to lose their mind. And they should have, actually. And then we're going to have a great conversation with E.M today. He's a Green Beret author, cultural fighter. I share almost every one of his posts. Now, he does share with me because I'm not big on social, but I check my messages. And when he does, I get enlightened. Now, he is not for the faint of heart. He doesn't really, the FAFO is a real thing to him. And he's just waiting, just patiently waiting for things to take a turn. And for us either to make the decisions that are necessary so that, we don't have to go to battle to save our country from an active coup, which is what we're in the middle of right now. But we're going to talk to him about the cultural revolution in America. And we're going to unpack the cartel's grip on the courts. And it is a cartel. It is a cartel. This is the manipulation that comes from what we are dealing with right now is absolutely insane. It's insane. And then we're going to wrap it up with a little bit of funny stuff. We're going to talk about some fun stuff, and hopefully you're going to go into the weekend feeling good about the weekend, spend time with your family, and we're going to kind of work through some stuff here. So with that said, I'm going to bring E.M in right now, and then I'm going to go through some of the cuts with him. I don't want him to sit in the background and watch me do this, so he can give me his thoughts on it as well. E.M, welcome to the show, brother.
Good to see you guys. How are you?
Good to see you. I thought we were going to get in trouble and that they were recording previously to you coming on. I said something inappropriate, and so I felt like I was the young Republican saying something to you. So I apologize.
I don't know that I've heard anything truly inappropriate in a long time.
I'm not that inappropriate. Kind of. I mean, if you're weak and you're kind of a soy boy, it would be offensive.
Yeah.
How you been,
don't
brother?
matter. I've been good, man. Been good. Thought I had a stroke about 3 weeks ago. Turns out I had an infection in the nerve of my face, and so that was fun.
Did you find out because you smiled in the morning and only one part of your face went up?
Only half the face would work. Yeah. I was ugly enough to start with. I didn't need slouchy face.
you got a face for radio. All right, I gotta show you some stuff. We're gonna go through this. Governor Newsom urged the nation to use the weekend as a declaration of independence against tyranny and lawlessness. But lawlessness is running our country. It is lawless when you put a guy out there that has been arrested 39 times in the last 8 years, right? That's lawless.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and play it. Cut one.
No kings. A declaration of independence against the tyranny, against lawlessness in the context that there was no rule of law. It was the rule of the king. And I think increasingly people are waking up to the rule of law in this country, increasingly appearing to be the rule of Don. And I hope it's dawning on people how precious this moment is and what's at stake. And so I hope people put a stake in the ground, take the opportunity and time to participate this weekend, but again, do so peacefully with a deep realization of the consequences and what the founding fathers were all about.
We call him Marina Mannequin. Those of us have known him since we were teenagers back home in San Francisco. He's a psychopath.
Oh, he's that.
The shit he just put together was like
psychopath.
Written by ChatGPT.
You know what I find interesting about what he's saying, though, is that if you were to put it together and analyze it, you couldn't come up with anything coherent that you could point to.
Correct. Except for little projection sound bites. All that was is a collection of little 4 to 6 second projection sound bites.
Yeah. He's kind of a terrible human being.
Well, he's from 2 mob families. He's from the Italian Pelosi mob family, and from the Irish Newsom mob family.
All right, so
that's not hyperbole
at all. But I have to show you that the thing that he's promoting, that Newsom is actually promoting, is put on by literal communists, the Communist Party.
Yes.
Take a look at this. So it's the No Kings is sponsored by the Democrat Socialists of America, which is Antifa, terrorist organization, Freedom Socialist Party, Antifa, Young Democrats, confused, New York Progressive Network, communist. So you have a full communist. I don't even know if you call it communist. You just have like a bunch of simps and douche canoes.
Yeah.
I should have sponsored.
Disposables. Communists are always disposables for the real enemy. Put them out there first. Those are your body bags.
So this is Senator Johnson. He had something to say about who will be attending the No Kings rally in D.C. this weekend. You got to see this.
Now, tomorrow, the Democrat leaders are going to join for a big party out on the National Mall. They're going to descend on our Capitol for their much-anticipated so-called No Kings rally. We refer to it by its more accurate description, the Hate America rally, okay? And I'm not sure how anybody can refute that. If you think about what's going to happen here tomorrow, you're going to bring together the Marxists, the socialists, the Antifa advocates, the anarchists, and the pro-Hamas wing of the far-left Democrat Party. That is the modern Democratic Party.
I always have a hard time taking him serious because he looks like a guy stuffed in a locker regularly when I was in school.
I see that you're becoming more and more patient. So every time I read your new article, I go, man, he is ready for war. Like, let it go. All right, so we have this lady who got really, really, really mad. And so she scorched the idea of Trump becoming a king. But Trump never said he wanted to be a king. So I'm trying to figure out how this is even possible. Play it.
No kings. Unless it was during the pandemic when all the mom and pop businesses were shut down, but the government said it was totally fine for all the major super rich corporations to continue operating. But I didn't really care because as long as I could get my Starbucks and go to Target, I was fine. No kings. Except during the pandemic when we told people that they would lose their job unless they took a certain medical product, or they couldn't even go into certain restaurants without vaccine paperwork. That was crazy, but I didn't really care because I just complied. No kings. Remember when we also told people that they had to not visit their loved ones that were sick and dying in the hospital, the elderly? They had to die alone. That was really sad. We shut down the schools, completely wrecked the developmental learning for a whole generation. I mean, that was tragic, but we don't really talk about that because that's over now. New outrage, no kings. Remember when we were told over and over if we got that medical product, we for sure would not get sick. And even though the people that got it immediately did get sick, we were for sure told they wouldn't spread it. And then that gradually became, well, like 95%, like 75%. Okay, there's no evidence it does what we told everyone it does, but we've already made everyone take it that would anyway. And no one really cared because it's new outrage time, no kings. And do you remember during that time, anyone who tried to bring attention to these issues on social media was censored or their account was banned? And limiting free speech at that time seemed okay to me. I didn't really think about it. No kings. You don't hate authoritarianism. You just hate what you're told to hate by the algorithm and the news outlets. Be so for real. I just wish the anti-authoritarian energy was present during actual tyranny from both the federal and local governments during that time. But no, of course not. And it's not authoritarianism if the majority of the people voted for it, both popular vote and electoral votes. People wanted the border secure. So settle down and start thinking for yourself. Turn off the TikTok. It's gonna be okay.
That one's wife material.
I think I could hook you up. I think we have her information.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking for a second wife now that I got my training wife out of the way.
Oh, you just can't, brother. You cannot make this up. It just doesn't. It doesn't seem to end. It does not seem.
It's all well. It's because all of this was done by theater kids. I mean, quite literally, all this stuff's being scripted by theater kids for theater kids.
So, how do you think we break through this? How do we break out of this?
Start shoving theater kids back in wall lockers.
I mean, I love that idea, frankly. But I'm just for two things would have to happen. One, I'd have to buy a crap load of lockers for these guys, and then you'd have to get some locks on them. Then you'd have to make sure it had enough breathable holes so that when you throw it at the bottom of the ocean, that it sank. Then you'd have to worry about bloating. I mean,
bring
it's
back
just a lot of
shop.
Problems.
Bring back shop and let the shop kids work it out.
You'd have less fingers on people.
Yeah. So, you know, that it sounds like humor, but it's actually true. I mean, this is, it's all scripted entertainment. It's all theater. And it's not real to them. You know, none of it's real to them. It's the same with, you know, the drunk, angry lady coming at you in the bar. She's yelling and screaming and pushing and shoving you. At some point, you just shove her back substantively, or you punch her because she's come at you with a weapon or something, and then all of a sudden it's real. And you'll see, it's not just a woman, it's effeminate men too. There's that instant flicker in their eyes where they're like, holy, oh, that's reality. And of course, then they normally go back to their insanity, start yelling and screaming again, et cetera. But, you know, for these people, it's all scripted theater. It's not real. And anything that's real happens somewhere else.
So how do we break it? I mean, that's the $1 million question, right?
That's happening, right? The defunding of the you know, USAID system, going after the cartels for the illicit funding, going after RICO cases against Soros and others who are using NGOs to, you know, when an NGO, when a nonprofit establishes itself, it has to declare whether it's going to be for public, political or whatever purpose. And if it's using it for political and it's not labeled as such, you can go after the registration and remove the nonprofit status. And then you can go after, using tax codes, you can go after the assets, right? And taxation and back taxation, et cetera. So the things that are necessary to break this structurally are happening. The problem is the enemy's been preparing for this for 40 years, and they have a $100 trillion war chest in offshore wealth.
All right, so let me ask you a question about that. There's a lot there. You see a lot of things happening in the country that are designed to give authority to these really bad cartels to take over different parts of the country. You have Dearborn, Michigan, that's owned by the Muslim cartel, right? And it's a bad group. It's a really bad group. I mean, it's not owned by the moderate Muslims or the Muslims that are just want to go about and get along, right? These are really bad people that are pushing people out. They're abusing them. They're threatening them. They're doing, and this is in our country, right? They took over the police departments, the DAs, everything, and they have created a private war environment in that environment. Same thing is happening in Texas. Same thing is happening.
Oh, it's everywhere. It's even here in Idaho.
Well, then we have to talk about what's happening specifically in the Supreme Court and what I can't believe the Supreme Court chose to not take on certain cases that would have resolved all of our Second Amendment issues, right? They walked past them over and over and over again, allowing for states to erode our rights, even after the Chevron case, instead of the ATF and the EPA and all those shouldn't exist because they were not established by the voters. The voters, people didn't vote for that. You can't create laws, and you can't put people in jail for regulations that were created by a non-law creating environment, right? You're just not allowed to do it.
Not by the legislature. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which means that we're run in a mostly slave environment, right? And we haven't even we haven't talked about flock cameras yet, which we're going to talk about, by the way. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, this is the first thing we have to do is recognize what this is and that it's intentional and it's been done for thousands of years. The Greeks did this. The Romans did this quite a bit, where they would move foreign populations into conquered lands so that the conquered lands could never reconstitute themselves to come out, to be a threat against Rome, because they were constantly being under attack and having to fight foreigners in their own lands. Yeah, it's what the British have done. It's what the Venetians have done. It's a set, and I've written 2 pieces. People can find them on Substack or on X articles about this very thing, that it isn't when you are taking a society and civilization through step number 7 of the financialist kill chain, which is collapse and abandonment, you flood the country, you flood the lands, the territories with people that will never assimilate, so that forever thereafter, for centuries, you have little levers you can turn up and down to turn conflict on and off in different parts of the country. And if you want a prime example of a region like that, look at the Levant and the Eastern Europe. That whole mixing was created by Rome, and they've been fighting for 2,000 years plus. And then the Levant region and most of Iraq, Kurdistan, Turkey, all of that was done by the British and the French. The Sykes-Picot, efforts. It was all done intentionally. They're doing it now here. So we have to recognize it's a very structured, very organized thing that they're doing to create conflict and chaos they can turn on and off in different parts of our country for centuries. That's the first part. And the second part is, how do you deal with that? Well, you're going to have to get rid of these people in vast numbers. But you can't go all the way to hate, ethno-nationalist hate, because that's another, if a people do that, like the Germans in the last century, then they lead you to a great slaughter, and they use that, wrath and ruin that you went to against you for the rest of, for the next 3 generations. So how do you do that? We've got to realize that we are a civilizational peoples, and we got to get back to our civilization as the primary. Stop chasing wealth, stop chasing fame, stop chasing money. Those things are important, but we need to put our civilization back as primary. And
Well, that
then
means we're
that's
gonna have
how
to
we
make-
help. Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to have to make some really drastic decisions for that to happen.
Correct.
I mean, drastic meaning
We're not going to have to
President
make
Trump's
them. They're going to be forced upon us. And
Well,
then
I
it's
mean,
a
the
matter
for-
of
the
do we
forced upon
accept them or
us is-
not? Yeah.
the forced upon us gets much more pronounced because, look, I had this conversation with my friend, Don Tier. We're talking about racism, and I'm like, listen, and yesterday I had a really bad day. I had a really bad day yesterday because
Sorry to hear that, bro.
at the end of the podcast, I got emotional about the fact that how much I've actually done to help other people and how I felt like I was, you have two, and I talked to one of my friends this morning. We went to Mass this morning early. And you have two people in two chairs. One's an illegal that is, a bad man, and one's an illegal that's a good person. And you're like, you want to help humanity. You want to help one have a better life, but you don't want to risk that he's not the person that you have in the good chair, right? That he's not a bad guy. That he's not, a cartel member. And so I go, so a part of me is torn by this idea that we want to do good, but it has to do good. We can't just have this utopian dream and just apply it to life because it destroys societies, which is in essence what's happened in our society. We're in a series of destructive bombs that are going off that are destroying societal norms and replacing it with men in women's sports and
Well, most
cutting
of
penises
that's
off. And
we're through most of that now. Where we're so that's a cycle. They did this in the teens, 20s, and 30s in Germany and Europe, etc., to create the disgust. Now the disgust has worked. We're moving all of that out. Now what they do is they move us to hard ethno-nationalism as the only way to survive. And they will literally go to such a degree where we have to actually go hard American, hard English, and really go hard ethno-nationalist, or we won't actually survive in our own communities and lands. We'll lose everything.
Are you talking? Well, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because there's a case that's out there right now being heard by the Supreme Court that in the 2020 census, Louisiana legislature created a congressional map with only one majority black district, right? So they basically did it along, ethnic lines. I mean, this is going back to slavery. Why don't we just have two, drinking fountains, black and white drinking fountains? I mean, they're literally pushing us back into a place, and you can see who's doing it. By the way, this is really crazy. I mean, it rhymes with you. So despite this, 1/3 of the state's population is black. Civil rights groups are challenging the map. And they're arguing that diluting the voting power is in direct violation of Section 2 of the VRA, right? And so they want the court to mandate or created a mandate of a second majority black district. So this is not based on where you live, not based on, they're creating ghettos because in essence, the people that end up running those areas are people that can control and treat those people like slaves. Now, whether or not that's a black person treating other black people like slaves, it doesn't matter. It becomes a slave environment. If you don't believe me, go to any area that is run predominantly like black people, and you'll have some white, synagogue of Satan individual that sits behind him telling him what to do, right? That, you can't help yourself. Now, EM, I'm going to show you a couple things, and then I want to get your thought on this. But this is going to include a Supreme Court justice and this is what I mean by creating ghettos and betraying your own people and not showing any loyalty and doing as much as you can to destroy those communities. Just infect them with drugs and cartels and gangs and make it
demoralization.
Impossible. It's take away education, take away opportunity, make them feel like they have to stay in this little area while they're victimized. And then all that money flows in to try and make it better. And just those 3, 4, 5 people with the synagogue of Satan person over here is funneling all that money and telling them, it's the white people. It's the white people 2 towns over. It's not. It's the people that are basically betraying their own people. And it shouldn't even be like that. We should have the ability to have a semblance of of treating people fairly. Anyway, here's the first one. This is an NAACP lawyer arguing the Supreme Court is not necessary to create race-based congressional districts because it's necessary. Because white Democrats were not voting for black candidates, whether it was Democrats or not. So let's play it.
That's right. And in the state of Louisiana, that analysis was conducted in the Nairn case. And it was clear that regardless of party, white Democrats were not voting for black candidates, whether they were Democrats or not. And we know that there is such a significant chasm between how black and white voters vote in Louisiana that there's no question that even if there is some correlation between race and party, that race is the driving factor.
Can you comment on the Solicitor General's suggestion at page 20?
Yeah. That is the biggest bunk. It's just not true.
When you are ready to collapse a society, you flood it in every way possible with nothing but ethnic and basically ethnic hatred.
And then you have people that, frankly, are some of the most retarded people you're ever going to meet. You put them in positions of power because you can control them.
Well, and that's late stage oligarchy. So late stage, I just had this conversation with Alex Craner a couple nights ago. Late stage oligarchies, this is exactly what you do. You put in, remember the character in the movie Django, Samuel L. Jackson's character?
Oh, yeah.
That's who you put in positions of authority in these communities. Well, very much to what you were saying, so they work against their own people's interests.
You know, I have to ask you, like, your soul is not black or white or green or yellow or purple.
I'm English.
What's that?
I said I'm an Englishman from the English civilization, of which America was the greatest expression of until just about 40 years ago.
Well, check this out. Katanji Brown Jackson.
Yeah, the auto pen assignment appointee.
This trash heap. This person. Look, if you think this woman represents you, you ain't black. Go ahead and listen to her. This is what she had to say about black people. Go ahead, play it.
I guess I'm thinking of it, of the fact that remedial action, absent discriminatory intent, is really not a new idea in the civil rights laws. And my kind of paradigmatic example of this is something like the ADA. Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act against the backdrop of a world that was generally not accessible to people with disabilities. And so it was discriminatory in effect because these folks were not able to access these buildings. And it didn't matter whether the person who built the building or the person who owned the building intended for them to be exclusionary. That's irrelevant. Congress said the facilities have to be made equally open to people with disabilities if readily possible. I guess I don't understand why that's not what's happening here. The idea in Section 2 is that we are responding to current day manifestations of past and present decisions that disadvantage minorities and make it so that they don't have equal access to the voting system, right? They're disabled. In fact, we use the word disable in Milligan. We say that's a way in which you see that these processes are not equally open.
She just called black people disabled. Bro, make it make sense to me.
It's called racism. You think people aren't racist against their own?
She's calling black people disabled. This is the woman that sits on the highest court. This is the woman that has the ability to represent what is possible. An opportunity to say, pick yourself up by your bootstraps and let's get you opportunity and let's fix the school systems and let's stop people from shooting each other. Now you have to have President Trump come in with the
But
National
she's not
Guard.
there on merit. She's not there on merit, so of course she thinks the way she does. She didn't get to that position on merit.
No.
So of course she thinks about it. That's the same problem in city councils. Another thing, these people get put in these positions. They know they don't have merit.
Fraudulent systems.
It's a fraudulent system. And so naturally they look down on black people. I didn't get here legitimately. So black people can't get here legitimately. Unfortunately, the problem is there are other black people that could
and do.
But we don't get to hear their names. They don't get put forward. They don't get, they don't get identified. Well, they get identified and then they get sidelined because that's actually a capable black person, like the Thomas Souls of the world and the other. Forgive me, I don't know the court's name, all the court's name, but the black gentleman on the court, right? These are people that didn't do it, or Alan West and others that have done the things that they've done on merit. Well, they tend to at some point, with some few exceptions, get sidelined.
All right. Well, I need you to hear this because Justice Sotomayor argues in favor of black congressional district and got, I don't even know what you want to call it. Let's watch it.
Reason to think that a racial group is being treated
here too. You have proof of that here.
No, you don't. What you have here is that Republicans and Democrats are different. There's no
you have some that even white Republicans or white Democrats won't vote for black candidates.
Right, but if these were white Democrats, there's no reason to think they would have a second district. None. And so what is happening here is their argument is because these Democrats happen to be black, they get a second district. If they were all white, we all agree they wouldn't get a second district. That is literally the definition of race subordinating traditional principles.
Justice Kagan?
You ain't wrong. No, again, it's late stage oligarchies right before collapse are turned into a medley of, a mismatch hodgepodge of populations and communities empowered in different ways and disempowered in different ways that are levers of conflict that can be turned on and off at will by the financialists, by the bankers.
Well, let me ask you a question. If all those things are true, how do cartels and these technocracies that we have, how are they able to, or why are we allowing them to control the judiciary in the way that they control it? Because you can tell, like I sat with my attorneys going through the Coomer lawsuit for about 4 hours, and we're talking about absolutely how absurd and how much liars his lawyers are. I mean, just psychotic in what they say and how they act.
Pathological liars.
Yeah, and it's really bad because they'll write an entire motion to the court, and the motion will be, let's say that they want to have a sandwich for lunch during a deposition. So it'll be like, I need a motion for a sandwich. And then it'll be like, Joe was mean to me. This is what he said on a podcast. Joe was mean to you, Judge. This is what he said on a podcast. Joe's mean to me. He said this stuff on the podcast. We need to protect ourselves from Joe. And at the end it says, so please give us our sandwich for the deposition. And I'm like, how is any of that? Well, how do you not strike that? And the judge is like, oh yeah, Joe was mean. He's a mean guy. I'll give you the sandwich for the deposition. That's how silly. And you know the judiciary is rotted to the core. And they use all this stuff that is absurd.
Right. So give me 1 second. There is a reason that the no king stuff is going around right now. They're not doing that by accident. It's not retard communists, Marxists behind it. They're just the useful idiots who don't have jobs and will go do stupid shit for a few shekels. Using Tommy's word for money, right? There's the reason they are going after the no kings is that historically the king was the one who was the check and balance on the power of the judiciary because the court served at the king's leisure. And the English civilization, unlike any other civilization we know of, except for some ancient Sumerians and some others, one of the very first acts as our civilization was put together, and we were, the dooms of Alfred, was hanging of 40 plus judges who were acting on behalf of, at the time, themselves or other principalities or Rome, the Catholic Church. Not to pick on your Catholic faith, but that was what was happening, right? So the reason they are going after no kings is because in order to reset all of this stuff, the executive from the federal and state level and county level executives are going to have to act like kings. But not the kind of kings that they're trying to make us look at, which are absolute monarchs, et cetera, which there's never actually been a true absolute monarch. They don't survive, right? But what is going to have to happen is the kingly-like powers that are constitutionally written into our systems are going to have to be exercised for probably the next 10, 20 years as we clean out all of this rot. So they know exactly what they're doing. It's, again, what we have to understand is what we are up against is estrogen.
Estrogen.
Quite literally, what we are up against is the estrogenic. We are fighting a war with people whose brains and nervous systems are shaped by heavy levels of estrogen. They fight differently. They conceive of war very differently than we do.
So soy milk.
Well, it's the soy boys and all, yeah, but it's really it's powerful women. Truth of the matter is 80 plus 90% of the assets of the world are either outright owned or very heavily influenced by women. And that has to do with statistics of how many men have children and how many die and how wealth's passed forward and all of this stuff, right? So, and now it's even getting more heavily skewed because of, women are the only ones getting the good paying jobs and funding and investments anymore, et cetera. So we are quite literally at war with some very malevolent, powerful women and estrogenic males, estrogenic and predatory, because they like predatory males as well. They could use them as a weapon. And they fight very differently. Well, what has to reset the power of an estrogenic system? A frickin' king. Men. Actual men acting as men. Not with emotions, not with feelings, not with, right? But using the levers of power as they are to fire a whole lot of people and imprison people that have done real wrong, that have done real harm. Like I saw a meme the other day that was just like, man, that needs to be put out everywhere. It was, if a bartender can be charged for a DUI that a former, for giving somebody too much alcohol that then they go on to commit a crime or a DUI, if a bartender could be charged from that, why can't a judge be charged for letting a career criminal, violent criminal out of prison?
Well, I think they should be, right? I mean,
I think so as well.
Correct. And I said that to my attorney earlier. I was like, until we get to the place where judges have a moral authority, which is what they operate under, they're the authority. But until they're held accountable for being corrupt in such a way that you can, if you can visually see it, they're removed from the bench on the first try. Until you have a no tolerance to the corruption that exists, they are going to continue to act with impunity until someone is in a position where they can knock them off, right?
Well,
in other words, get them out.
So it's a little harder. So I totally agree with you. The issue is that it's a little harder to go after judges just because of the respect we have, culturally, legally, et cetera, for judges. However, we should be going to hell after prosecutors and district attorneys. That's where the major problem is. If you go after prosecutors and district attorneys for lying and just straight up fraud to win cases, et cetera, you start turning the judiciary around. It puts the judges on notice too.
Well, I mean, look, the judges have caused the most damage in our country, period. And
all of it. Virtually all of it.
They're the backstop. And I want to take something from our last conversation where you said every 200 years, every 400 years, we go through this same same evolution where judges have gotten away with really bad things and have done really bad things, and they're given the reins of a moral or ethical authority, and yet they are the most rotted, unethical that we have, and yet they're doing the biddings of the cartels. And I haven't met anyone yet that doesn't believe what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've had conversations with hundreds of people. I've had conversations with previous judges who I've known for decades. One, a previous Supreme Court justice for a state, who said, Joe, I never thought I would see the day where I look with such disregard and disgust of the profession that I spent nearly 25 years in as a judge.
Yeah, we have Al Capone Chicago everywhere now. And it's because the cartels, really the intelligent, the paramilitary of the intelligence communities and their illicit funding are about $2 trillion a year. That's the base of most economies. That gets laundered through local banks and businesses, et cetera. It's a huge, people don't, realize how much this money laundering through all the small businesses in towns that then pay taxes, that then supports the bureaucracy, including the judges and their salaries and everything else, how much everything is propped up at the local, county, and state levels by illicit trade. And so how do you deal with that, right? It's about $2 trillion a year. And then that money goes into the banks. The banks lend that out at 10x, 10, 20x. So now you're talking, 20, 40 trillion dollars a year. You don't need a real economy with that. What you need to do is continue to support the illicit economy because that's propping everything up at every level.
So let's talk about the outcome, the underpinning or the outcome of this. What you're saying is interesting because it does lead you to the other part, which is they're doing this on purpose because they know psychologically they have to address the fact that there's going to be, they know the next chess piece has to be that there's a reset with someone that says, hard decision, have to do it. We've talked about it now for quite some time. So we know that President Trump is going to have to make some really big decisions, right?
Not just Trump, but this is also, so the federal stuff is happening. It is going to get more. We're taking the ability for World War III off the table, as we talked about. They're working hard to take open, all-out hot civil war off the table. Doesn't mean it won't happen in some areas. Low-grade civil wars, low-grade hot civil war is inevitable. But this also has to happen at the states levels. Federal government can only do so much. Now, they can go after somebody like Gavin Newsom. That's why he's putting this out there, because he's got a very, let's just say that they know where all the bodies are buried. But that's going to cause a cartel fight. So why are we pointing at Venezuela right now? Because that's where, the intelligence communities have their cartel headquarters.
Well, this screams, in my opinion, it screams that there's more that we're at play here, that there has to be a singular source of people that are making decisions that adversely affect 340 million people in the United States.
No, it doesn't quite work that way. It's so give me a second. And this is the thing, this is how they continue in power, as we keep thinking that way. It's got to be a star chamber. It's not how it works. It's a system and a regime where people are replaceable. And it's a system regime that's been iterated and put in place over the last, really since Venice in the 700s. It's just been steadily rolled out and improved and updated for 1,300 years. It's now more banks that we don't know about and institutions that we don't know about and old obligations and relationships that, contracts and things that you'll never have access, assay into. And yeah, there's the obvious people that we see, or somewhat obvious people that see, but that's because they're put out in front. And anytime a bank, the reason why we can't just crush it is because virtually everybody in the regime is replaceable within hours.
All right, let's man, that's just the scary part of that is I'm just starting. There's a realization that you have where you start thinking to yourself, they have a crafted narrative and they're following it, and they think they can figure out what the outcome is. And every time they lose a chess piece, they're like, oh, we need to reset that chess piece. Which leads me to believe that the left is not just nervous, but they're sociopaths and psychopaths. But behind that calm demeanor, they are losing their freaking minds.
So one of the things, yes, so the left is losing their mind because what they're realizing is that their owners are burning them. Right? So,
Yeah.
And we also have to look at the left in two ways because the left has two faces. One is the left and the other is the right left. And the left has done, as they've been in control of most of the narrative, and the right left has allowed them to do it. The right left masks and hides behind the excesses of the left. But we got to remember those dudes in Germany, which wasn't all Germans, but the dudes in Germany were National Socialists. They were leftist. And we have got to remember that because that's the real masters, right? The ones behind all this is the Fourth Reich. And the left is scared. The left is scared because they are getting burned and they know it.
So
and
let's...
One second, terribly sorry, but there's one of the things I meant to mention earlier. The thing that we need to be careful of is to not think that the people that are really in power behind the right of left that's driving of this are sociopaths and psychopaths. We need to be careful not to think that. They just believe in what they're doing and it works for them and they hire and recruit sociopaths and psychopaths. But for a regime to last that long, it's not led by psychopaths and sociopaths. Which is more scary, right? We don't want to believe in that kind of humanity.
Well, it's difficult to believe in it because it opens up your mind to the possibilities of what we really could be heading into, right?
Yeah. Well, Solzhenitsyn said evil. What did he say? The line between good and evil passes through every man.
Hey, listen, I said it yesterday. I am capable of great violence. And I hope that I never get to the place where I have to be violent, but I'm prepared to be violent at all times.
But violence is not evil. Depends on how it's used. It's, violence itself is, unfortunately, is the only counter to what's coming and what's happening. And it's the only counter to evil. At some point, you have to literally draw your swords and hack away.
Yeah.
Now, you want to try and set up all the conditions so you minimize the amount of that has to happen. And, where we failed 400 years ago is that we didn't take all of this into account and we let them, we hacked away in the English Civil War and the Inglorious Revolutions and the 30-year war and the 80-year war and all that other stuff on the continent I couldn't really care about. But we lost because we didn't want, we were coming out of the Enlightenment and we were, getting into, the higher Enlightenment ideals, and we didn't want to believe that evil was in mankind, and we let it embed itself real deep. Yeah, we hacked away. We lost. And we need to make sure we don't do that this time.
So we have a capture of the judiciary. So we have this institutional rot. And then we have foreign and domestic agitators that they have that play this part in creating outcomes. So how do you have...
It's not outcomes, it's narratives. It's narratives. What people got under... So I wrote 2 articles here recently called Total War, right? Total War pieces.
Yeah.
So what we need to realize is quite literally what's happening. The entire world that we're moving in now is driven by algorithmic trading. And it's driven in all the things that we see, all the things that are agitated, et cetera, are not about the political movement. They're not about this. They're not about that. What it's about is that action is going to drive somebody's investment strategy to a $3 billion gain that day with algorithm trading. And they might set that movement up 3 years, that trade, that's what they call it. It's complex movement. They might set it up 3 years in advance. We like to think all this stuff is happening organically, politics and political movements and social movements, and it's all being driven by finance that's making money, right? The alchemist's dream off of human blood and human conflict. Because these actions drive different stocks and different markets and different times and different directions. Algorithmic trading is roughly 90% of all trading now. It's trading virtually 24/7 around the world. And, we invested, I wasn't involved in it, but I looked at some of the companies early on in social media so that we could get closer to the information cycle to drive our trading strategies. And then by 2011, 2012, back when I was in algorithmic trading, well, actually, I was in special operations at the time, but I was still talking to my colleagues from when I had been in. We were already realizing that we couldn't have a trading advantage if we just waited or tried to get a speed advantage on the news. We needed to start creating the news. And so what happens out of there, you have all these NGOs pop up. The Giving Pledge. Why? Because we can use all those NGOs to, let's say I put $1 trillion a year into NGOs to cause all this kind of chaos around the world, but $40 trillion is being, changing hands through algorithmic trading, given that kind of chaos. And I want more of it. I want more little levers because there's other very sophisticated algorithmic trading platforms. Algorithmic warfare basically is what it is. And I'm having a harder and harder time, kind of with brute force, shall we say, winning. So now I want to fracture and fragment things even more, so I have even more levers and can do even more sophisticated portfolios of algos. But that's really what's driving everything. It's also why we've done all this cheap capital and pumped tens of trillions of dollars into the capital markets so that we have capital to play with.
Yeah, we have capital to play with a $34 trillion debt currently.
Well, so what? People will pay for that or the country will collapse. What do we care? We've made $100 trillion in the same 15-year period.
So you're
when I say we, I don't mean me personally, but the old algo game I used to be in.
All right, so now this is a much more difficult question, but I know that you've written about this as well, and that is, and I want to paint this picture from the perspective like we're standing on the sidelines. Let's hypothetically say we're not Democrats, we're not Republicans, we're not independents, we're just
people.
We're just people. We're bystanders.
Yeah.
We're observers. Conscientious objectors. How about that? Which neither one of us would ever be. But
no,
you have a judiciary in this country that is innately evil, or at least rotted to a place where. What's that?
It's resentful. It's resentful, like I wrote about in the Eternal War. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have that problem, and it stands up and it says, under the guise of justice, right? You're a justice system, and you say that you're trying to do eternal good. You have people that do things to put criminals back on the street, and really, but how really does that contribute to poverty and violence and death and all the lack of opportunity? How does that judiciary set the temperature for where you can have this resentment that you talk about inside the judiciary carry out and basically plague entire communities?
So give me a second. The problem with resentfuls, the problem with crazy people, actually crazy people, is that they can't see the chaos around them.
Right.
I watched this in San Francisco as it was going to crap, and people I knew, elite people, very intelligent people, couldn't even see the stuff on the streets. And if you try to have a conversation, you get to the house and you have a dinner party or whatever, you try to have the conversation, they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I was like, "Motherfucker, I just walked down the street with you. Did you not see the feces and the used needles and the people that were barely alive cadavers?" So it's not so much that, this is an intentional thing on the middleware infrastructure people. They're just crazy and insane. It's the people behind the scenes, the bankers, who make all kinds of money off of all of this and enslaving people. And they make $1 trillion a year off just the drugs, right? You need the misery for the drugs. And so it's more about a class of people that are put into these positions to make decisions that only insane people make, because then that creates an insane world. And then there's folks that can turn levers of stress and turmoil up and down as they want, and they can make a bunch of money off of it. Or they can mask some malevolent thing that they've done and hidden, they can hide it. So the problem that we have right now, again, back to the no kings thing. What is a king? King is a very sane man, right? King has to be the most sane man in the kingdom.
And you have to be willing to make hard decisions that affect people in a very
Which a sane man,
way.
That's right, what a sane man would do. What's happening right now is we're being forced to a place to where sane men have to take control back at every level.
And right now we're talking about not just insanity, but some of the weakest, most pathetic people you would have out there. You would never invite any of these people to run anything.
But I want to caution something, actually. They are insane. They are insane. Now, are they, Joker level insane? No. Right? But they believe in a structure, in a system that is itself, by definition, insane. Well, just by believing in it and operating within it, they have to make of themselves somebody who's insane. And that's why very rarely you'll get somebody who wakes up, right? That's the original, woke, somebody who woke up, right, or awakened, and they're like, what the hell was I thinking? And they don't necessarily need to be this bad, crazy, insane kind of person. They just believed in that system and regime until they were, able to get a third look at it and go, holy cow. So this is the point about no kings. The subtle but very profound piece down underneath is it is a total fight, narrative war, and not about Trump. This is about strong, healthy, sane men taking back control of their communities. Well, historically, for lesser peoples, that's like a king. That's somebody's a tyrant. No. It's just me, for my sense, it's just me being a father.
It's
right?
kind of brilliant, though.
Yeah,
it is kind of brilliant.
Yes.
It's for a couple reasons. I have to ask this because yesterday, Big Balls, they had the 5.
Yeah, the court, yeah.
Yeah. And you had this piece of trash attorney or judge that gave them probation. Now these are criminals. These are common criminals, and they hunted down this young man. I mean, it wasn't a random act. They hunted him down. They waited for him to come out, and they basically attacked him and his girlfriend. And he basically took the brunt of it. Was beat bloody. Right? So what are the consequences of a legal system that feels nothing for its victims?
Yeah, well,
that's in essence what we're at.
Sane, strong men are going to have to do what they have to do to retake control. And I've said this numerous times, and I don't like it. I don't want it. But a lot of people are going to get destroyed, and a lot of people are going to die. People have to be held accountable for their crimes.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm all about people being held accountable. In 100 different ways, I'm all about it. And yeah.
But we, on our side, when we are holding them accountable, we do have to act as best we can within the constructs and confines of the law. Now, not as they're adjudicating it, but as the law actually is, the intent of the law, and within the bounds of constitutionality.
Okay, so I want to walk through some of the things that we're dealing with. They've created racism in this country over the last 10 years. They've manifested it.
No, it goes back 40. It was already happening when you and I were in school. But go ahead.
I mean, you could say that, but when I graduated high school and I went to college, that was like in one of the best. Like it was prominent in the 80s, but you go in the 90s, like I would go maybe it was just me. Maybe I was just okay with it because I didn't care if you were black, white, green, purple. I love to fight. If you want to fight, let's fight. Right? I'll throw you around like a rag doll. I didn't care how big you were. I didn't care how much you thought you were. I would go right at you, right? So I didn't have people that came at me. And I didn't have people that came at people around me because I created this environment where, I mean, you could almost say that people were like, yeah, I just don't really want to mess with you, Joe. But I didn't see this racism. I could walk into a bar, say hi to black dude, white dude. I could walk on the street. You have 10 black guys sitting on the street. Hey, you guys want to play some basketball? Let's go play. They wouldn't be like, oh, we're not playing with you, white boy. Now you go to Utah Park over in Aurora, and you're white, and good luck getting on the court. You can't get on the court. It is, and they talk about racism no matter where you are. I was in the airport, walking, and this woman's like, get out of my way. She walks to get in my way, to have me get in the way. I just walk right through her. And she made the comment like, I've been getting out of the way for white people for so long, and I just put my hand, pushed her out of the way.
Yeah.
Get out of my way. The camera's going to show that you're a piece of shit. Get out of my way. Right? So I just pushed her out of the way. And you'd say, well, Joe, you should have just taken the high road. I did take the high road.
Should have knocked her ass out.
I've never hit a woman. But
well, and they know that. So what are they doing? So now so here's the problem, okay? If you make anybody, any gender, any race, a protected class in any form or fashion, they will become a tyrant. And they will become a tyrant in all these passive aggressive ways, such that the only recourse is violence. They know it. They know it.
Yeah.
And they're going to push as hard as they can in every way that they can.
But they're perpetuating a lie. The whole narrative is a lie.
Yeah, well, but it's being fed to them, right? By all this academic bullshit and all. It's all been done on purpose. Again, it's exactly what I'm saying. We have to remember that the people behind all this are not the left of left folks that were crafting all the narratives that got pushed around all this time that created this. It was the right of left people who hate all of those people and want us to kill them because they're undesirables.
You know what you're saying, right? That they basically
I know exactly what I'm saying.
Created this problem to send people to their death.
Correct.
That's a sad way of going about things. Sad way. And I don't think you're wrong. I just have to digest it, I think, a little bit.
Well, I'm grappling, I can see it so clearly. It's so obvious. And I am quite literally, my friend, I grapple every single day trying to figure out how to do this other than, oh, hell, we're going to have to start killing undesirables. It's not because I consider them undesirable. It's because they've been made undesirable. They've been forced into this lie, and now it's like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Just allow myself to be beaten like big bulls and destroyed and have my family? I got kids. I got family.
Yeah,
so the thing is, don't hate. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't know that there's any other way. Now, there's some things that we can do going after ringleaders. There's things we can go do going after judiciary. There's things that we can do to minimize what's coming. But every single day I look at this and I'm like, I don't see any other way. That this situation has been created, very carefully constructed, vast amounts of money and effort put into it for 40 years. And this is the thing that upsets me about everybody looking at the Marxists. Yes, the Marxists are bad, but the Marxists are insane. It's the National Socialist that we brought into every level of government and industry and banking and finance who are behind all of it. Why? Because their undesirables list is the very same it was in the 1930s. And they know in order to bring about their ethnic cleansing, they had to get the English-speaking peoples in particular into such a place where they had to stand and fight for their very survival. And so they've been working steadily at it, distracting us all with the Marxists. The Marxist shit's all real, but those people are insane. National Socialists are not insane. They're just malevolent.
All right, I want to show you some stuff.
Yep.
If I can. This is a woman that regrets leaving the United States.
Mm.
Here, let's just go ahead and play it. See one.
If you're an American who is considering leaving the country to move somewhere else, make sure that the location you choose isn't based off of fear and lack mentality. I regret moving to Costa Rica. It's a beautiful country. I love the nature and wildlife, but moving to a third world country where I don't know the language, I don't have any connections, resources, or opportunities, that didn't make my life any easier by any means. I was just so scared of what's going on in America politically that I was in fight or flight. I was like, how am I gonna afford to survive? Like, how am I gonna find a place to live? Like, I was freaking out. And then I came here and made my life so much harder. And now I'm trying to go back, and I just like wish I didn't leave in the first place. And it's so weird to like want to move to America right now with everything that's going on, but I just left so many privileges and resources behind, and I want them back. It sucks. But
there's another piece I want to give to people. When hard times come, heaven forbid, and I mean that genuinely, right? But when hard times come, the people that left, when they come back, they have, if the people survive, they have no respect, no credibility. You can look at even the American Revolution, right? Back 250 years ago. So if you know, sorry this happened to this young lady, right? But what did she expect not having done her research?
There's a lot of places I'd rather go than Costa Rica. I mean, if you like hanging out with monkeys. And
it's a beautiful place.
Monkeys. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
But there are actual monkeys everywhere.
Yeah, same with Panama. Yeah, I can't handle the humidity anyways, so wouldn't be for me.
Well, we're going to do, so I want to show you this. This is the Minneapolis mayor candidate, Omar Fatah. Look, there's an infiltration happening all over our country. This is crazy.
Yes, it's going to happen until we stop it.
And this is the Baddies for Omar. Wait till you see this. Go ahead, play it.
Hey, Baddies.
I heard the Baddies are having an event for the campaign this Friday. Can you tell me more about the details?
Yeah, you heard it here first. Our first Baddies for Omar sketch and sip is happening this Friday, October 17th at Aria Cafe. A donation of $50 or more will get you into the event and get you a cute t-shirt like this. Hope to see you there.
This is a Somali, by the way. He's not.
I know who he is.
How?
It's okay. No, because if you won't stand up and fight for your own lands, people are going to take them. Well, and you know what? They got a right to try.
That is true. I didn't think about that. And we have a right to fight back and take it back.
They got a right to try, but we have a right to say no. So, of course, they're doing what they can get away with. Of course. Why are they able to get away with it? Well, because we were enjoying the 90s and early 2000s, and we weren't paying attention as all this shit was being put in place. And that's probably why they made the 90s and early 2000s so universally pretty cool. Right?
Yeah. Pretty crazy stuff. I want you to see this. There's the borders closed on our side, and I'm going through a few things with you because there's a lot going on right now related to this racism and all this narrative that's pretty crazy. Mexico is deporting illegals south to Guatemala and beyond, and so it's funny that they want us to take them. And now they're saying, okay, we can't have them either. Check this out.
Así fueron detenidas familias enteras en el estado mexicano de Chiapas, fronterizo con Guatemala. Bajo la presión de la administración de Donald Trump y en un intento de frenar un éxodo que crece día a día, las autoridades mexicanas recurren a la deportación. Y aunque el gobierno de Andrés Manuel López Obrador prometió un trato justo para los migrantes, algunos de los detenidos denunciaron haber recibido todo lo contrario.
¡Me golpearon mi hijo! ¿Qué le hicieron? ¡Dos perros me golpearon mi hijo!
Desde octubre del año pasado, miles de centroamericanos.
I mean, look, this is the problem: is that the useful idiots get brought over, and then when they get sent back, I mean, it's a problem.
I don't blame these people at all. They're just poor peasant people.
Yeah.
I don't get upset at poor peasant people.
You can't.
Not even here, right? Because they're being used as pawns, as disposable pawns in a much larger game. I don't get angry at, right? Even when they do something really stupid, I don't get angry at, I don't get upset at, I don't blame the peasants at all. And I got to actually, again, just like this moron in Minneapolis or wherever, right? The guy running for office. I don't fault them for trying, if an opportunity is open for them to try and change their life, I don't fault them for trying to take it. Now, I also don't think that they don't pay for their choices, right? That doesn't give them a free pass, but I don't fault these people at all. They're just poor peasant peoples. Same with that idiot running for office. He's just a peasant. And they're trying to do the most they can do. The masters, however, now those ones I hold accountable. Those ones I get angry with.
Yeah, I would agree with that fully. Do you think black people could be racist too?
Some of the most racist people I ever met. Well, everybody's racist. Everybody's racist. Now, it's a matter of what does that racism mean, right? What does it mean? It's like, I'm at a point right now that if you're not English, and I mean English civilization, I don't mean white people, but I mean if you're not somebody who comes from or adheres to or resonates deeply with the English culture and civilization, the principles of our culture and civilization, I'm racist against you. I don't care if you're white, black, yellow, brown, whatever, right? It's just, and the honest truth is, and it's taken me a long time to get to this, a long time. I spent half my life in and out of the Far East in Asia, right? But the reason is that our civilization is the immune system against all of this. It's the only immune system against all of this. It's the only thing with which all this complexity is just like, yeah, no, that's not this, that's not this, that's not that, that doesn't fit here. We don't believe that. We don't agree with that. That's not right. Our ancestors fought that bullshit out 300 fucking years ago, 600 years ago, that we had a fight about this and we worked that out. And we're just not going to allow that. That's what a civilization is. And a civilization is composed of multiple cultures. But they're cultures that adhere to the master civilization. If you want a prime example of it is Russia and China. Yeah. It's why they've been able to survive the communist, attempts to take over and destroy them. It's why Russia survived the oligarchic, collapsing of Russia after the Soviet Union. Why? They fell back on their civilization and fell back on themselves as a civilizational people. Well, that included the Chechens and the Dagestanis and, the Kazakhs and the Uzbeks and all these others from Central Asia. They are unique cultures and distinct peoples, but they also have 1,000-year plus shared history of Russian civilization.
Well, I'll tell you what, what we're seeing right now across the country is not just here, it's across the world.
Yes.
I talked to a friend of mine who's in Kenya, and he's talking about the fact that there's a massive push for racism in Kenya.
Yes.
The white population is less than 1%.
Yes.
I mean, it is literally a run of justification that's been created. It's a mind virus that now is leading to this anti-white environment.
Well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to show you a video of Piers Morgan, a panelist, states that black women cannot be racist. I want you to see this.
Now you can respond. Black women cannot be racist to white women. Are you kidding me?
Sorry?
That makes no sense.
Sorry?
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand that?
Oh, yes, they can.
You don't have the intellectual capacity to understand that.
Oh, yes, they can.
That's very much
and you've
impossible.
been racist to me.
That's very much impossible.
You've been racist to me, a white man, by saying I'm a race baiter. Yeah.
How am I racist to you? I'm black. I can't be racist to you.
You called me a race baiter with no evidence.
To me.
When have I been a race baiter?
You could be racist to me.
When have I been a race baiter?
But I'm a powerhouse.
Tell me when I've been a race baiter.
I'm a powerhouse.
Well, you may be a powerhouse.
Understand something.
You may be a powerhouse. You may be a powerhouse.
Okay.
When have I been a race baiter?
I want you to admit that. Okay.
When have I been a race baiter?
Okay.
When have I been a race baiter?
Okay.
This is absurd.
No, hang on, tell me.
Honey.
Blossom, give me one example of me race baiting. Blossom, go.
I'm here. At this point, I'm just here to talk about trans women in sports. I said what I said.
So you don't have
and I
anything,
have to
do you?
Repeat anything.
You called me a race bait.
So wait, is that even a woman?
I don't think so. I think we just got. I think we
that
just
was
got,
even more confusing.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Okay. I mean, it's just the most absurd thing ever. Saying nothing about nothing.
Well, it's back to what I said. What is happening is testosterone has to take over again.
Yeah.
Sane, rational, logical, strong, firm, non-emotional, not hating, non-prejudicial. Well, not the prejudice that they're talking about, but we do have to make assessments and judgments about who gets to stay and who doesn't, who gets stripped of their assets and who doesn't, because of what they've done, and of course, and what they're doing, not because they belong to some group.
So imagine a federal judge ordering that a fence around an ICE facility has to come down.
Yeah.
Right?
I should have just told them to fuck off.
They should have. But go ahead and play this cut 5. Let me show you this.
It's okay. I mean, what this is the right of left, the Reich, the Fourth Reich is burning their Marxist assets. And what are they trying to burn their Marxist assets to do? Cause violence. And it's worked a couple times. They had the assassination attempt on Trump, and they killed Charlie Kirk. So it's worked sometimes.
At some point, we're going to have to do something about it.
They won't stop until they will not stop until they are forced to stop. And they know that. I don't know that we're there yet. I think it's probably, because in order for us to do the very hard thing that we have to do, we have to make sure that we have exhausted every other remedy first. We must.
It's getting pretty close, though.
Well, we're moving through them, but there's still some moves and still some steps and still some things that we can do.
Get rid of
one of the
machines,
things
mail-in
that
ballots. I mean, if you get back to a voting system, that will actually clean things out.
The problem is very much though, this is not so much about voting anymore. What this is about is very much what you've been talking about is the judiciary. And so what needs to happen is judges need to start getting removed for cause. But the problem is that requires legislators normally at the state and federal levels, and they're bought off. They're owned.
So then you lead me back to the part where we're heading towards a massive civil war.
Yeah. And the trick then, I can't, again, man, I look at this all day, every day. It's what I do, right? And I cannot see any other way. Now, there's some things that could happen, and I'm praying that they do. And really, all it takes is a return to lawfulness in the legislature that then starts to use its constitutional rights to start resetting the judiciary. I just don't see it happening. I haven't seen it happen at all. Now, I am seeing constitutionality at the federal level restored in the judiciary. That's working. But that has to happen vastly more, and it has to happen all the way down to the city judges, and county, and those state supreme courts, et cetera. And I'm just not seeing that at all. And that's again, the American Revolution. The founding fathers signed 50 plus founding fathers signed a document that the Declaration of Independence, making an oath, swearing an oath to one another that no matter what came, whether there was a loss of life or fortune or whatever it is, that they would stay loyal and stick through to the end until this new legal system this new constitutional system was brought about. What drove them to that? It wasn't taxes. It was corruption in the English colonial and the crown courts. And they had worked for 20 plus years to remedy all of that through the courts. But the American people need to understand the American Revolution happened because of corrupted courts, not taxes. Taxes had virtually nothing to do with it.
Well, EM, I'm headed into my weekend, and I'm feeling a little bit more hopeful than I was before I talked to you.
I think we're going to be okay. We have an old civilization. America, the American peoples, our civilization, our rule of law is 1,000 years older than America. It's been through these fights. We've been through them again every 400 bloody years, and then we do minor ones in the middle there. Right? Now we're at a major one. I have some concerns about some things, but I remember not too long ago, I knew Chinese, Black, Hispanic, white Americans that were through and through Americans. We're still here.
Yeah, we're still here. We're just getting a little older.
We're getting a little older, but the good thing is you could do testosterone replacement therapy now and a little bit of HGH, and we're right back in it, baby.
Hello, how you doing? Here we go.
Just be careful, if you're violent for more than 4 hours, see a doctor, right?
Yeah, how do people follow you? Because they got to get more of the stuff that you're doing, your Substack.
Yeah, so you can go to my website, emburlingame.com, for some signed books. You can go to emburlingame.substack.com. Most of the hard-hitting stuff I write as prose, so go to the prose tab. A little bit drunken prose, and then Twitter, of course, where I'm staying more in the flow of things, because that's where the heavy concentration of the narrative crafting and the fifth generation. People need one pause moment though. People need to stop thinking that fifth generation warfare is cyber warfare. It's financial warfare. And it's being driven by algorithms and algorithmic trading, which is behind everything. And so that's where the real fifth gen is. Everything else just feeds that. So, but that's the place, my friend. You have a good weekend.
Thanks for spending Friday with me.
Yes,
it's always good. And so I tried to draw out stuff that I get from what you write, and you write things pretty regularly. So you go over and definitely check out a Substack and X. Twitter, X, one of the two. You want a fun fact?
Let's do it.
I just got this so everybody can understand. I got a phone call yesterday or the day before yesterday that says, Joe, they're coming for you. And they're trying to cancel you. And I was like, yeah. So I said, all right. And I didn't say anything to anyone else. I mean, everyone in here didn't know that I got that phone call. But today, I got this, received nearly 500 emails from Spotify today. We have hundreds of podcasts pulled from the platform. Episodes of your podcast have been removed. Following content has been removed from your service. The automatic review tools identified third-party music in this content, and you have not responded to our inquiry about the use. Here's another one. Oh my gosh. So they literally took down our podcast. Isn't that nice?
That's what they do.
Yeah, it's just crazy. The whole thing's crazy.
We got to start shoving theater kids back into wall lockers, man. I'm just telling you. It seems like it's a small thing, but it
is what it is. It is a Friday, though, so I'm not going to let anything get me down. EM, thanks for joining us, brother. Appreciate you very much.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
God bless you. You know, that EM's a warrior. He really is. I mean, when I say warrior, he doesn't know how to not fight, but he doesn't want to fight. So he's just trying to warn us that we're gonna have to get a little bloody, or we're gonna have to push a little bit hard on the gas in order to get out of all of this. I want to end it with a couple things that I think are great. Yeah, we're getting canceled in a bunch of places, so go ahead and hit the share button. We'll figure it out. I think you guys are working on it, right? Austin, you working on it? It looks like we can at least get some of this stuff turned back on. Oh, Josh? Okay. So Hakeem Jeffries decided to take a shot at President Trump. These people are liars. They're the worst type of liars. These people are saying that, oh, they're lying, but they can't bring anything to the table because they are literally demons. But President Trump and the White House had to turn the video around and add a little humor to it for us for this Friday. So let's play it.
And then you got Caroline Leavitt, who's sick. She's out of control. And I'm not sure whether she's just demented, ignorant, a stone cold liar, or all of the above. But the notion that an official White House spokesperson would say that the Democratic Party consists of terrorists, violent criminals, and undocumented immigrants, this makes no sense.
Doesn't make any sense. You see, I see a little sombrero they had on him. And I was going through and looking at some videos, and I saw this video, and I was like, man, I got to show you this. Someone in the press asked President Trump about Venezuelan President Maduro. Now, Maduro was elected using the same fraudulent systems they use in the United States. You know, the Liberty Vote, Dominion voting systems, ESNS, Smartmatic, you know, where they keep gaslighting. Somebody took the no ink guy, right? What I call the synagogue of Satan guy, and walked him into the White House and said, hey, we're going to have him buy Dominion. And then just transferred it from one private equity firm to another, and then used a system by which that they can uncover, say, oh, you know, we're gonna focus on paper ballots. Get rid of the machines and get rid of the mail-in ballots, period. Right? While you're at it, we need to vote to get rid of property taxes and to reduce the amount of people that we have working for the government. Make them actually go get a job. And then they won't be so concerned about bringing people in from different countries and invading our country. This is President Trump when he was asked this question about Maduro. He offered us everything. Let's play it.
Maduro offered everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation. What should we do in order to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
I want to drop my mic right now. So President Trump, man, I got to tell you, he's done some pretty crazy stuff and said some pretty crazy stuff of late that leads me to believe that we are headed down a path where there's going to be mass arrests. There has to be. And he's recognizing that you have rotted judges that are nothing but ideologues that are doing the bidding of this coup. There's a coup in our country. And you can see it. As clear as day, you can see it. It's clear as day that these people are radical, ridiculous retards. So the only way you can deal with them is actually just arrest them all, have them go through a military tribunal, and then have them go to prison for the rest of their life and or face a firing squad if they're found guilty of treason. That is how you handle coups against a nation. It is not a victimless crime what they've done in our country, and it's pretty sad. All right, we have one last thing that I'll talk about, and that is we put out a email and a letter today that talks about Tina Peters. So, by the way, if you want to make sure you get notified when we actually go live, you can text Untamed, UNTAMED, to 89517, and we'll send you a text message when we go live. If you want to actually sign up for email, you can go to untamednation.com and sign up so I can send you an email. But we have this thing where every day we want to send stuff to our political leaders. And this is an immediate demand for the Tina Peters release, end of political persecution of a patriot. The chains binding Tina Peters are not just bars of steel. They're the shackles of a system terrified of truth. A heartbreaking betrayal of the very democratic republic system she fought to preserve. As a Gold Star mom who lost her son serving America, Tina's quest began in 2021 with a simple, heroic act: safeguarding Mason County elections records to verified Dominion machines amid whispers of fraud. What followed was a nightmare of vengeance, prosecutors twisting her oath-bound duty into a data breach scheme. Judge Matthew Barrett unleashed venomous scorn, calling her a charlatan who lies as easy as she breathes. and slamming her with a 9-year sentence on October 2024. This isn't justice, it's vengeful crucifixion, denying her bond on appeal while suppressing evidence like a Venezuelan expert's testimony on the hackable software. The anguish is unbearable. A grieving mother, now 70 and battling fibromyalgia, isolated in Pueblo's La Vista Correctional Facility. Her First Amendment rights crushed under the boot of political vendetta. How can we sleep while a patriot rots for exposing cracks, fissures in our election system? The violation deepens with every ruling. Peter's October 16, 2025 hearing saw the state desperately move to strike her team's sworn testimony. Desperate to bury proof of a system vulnerable to undetectable vote changes, echoing the Colorado Courts of Appeals' early bond denial, despite no clear Supreme Court precedent. Federal magistrate Scott D. Vaharlek doubts on her habeas petition only amplify the injustice, as Colorado officials oppose Trump's DOJ review, framing her as a danger for speaking out while fraud festers unchallenged. This is calculated silence, overturned contempt charges, deleted records, and a jury trial rigged with bias, all to protect the narrative over a woman's liberty. The emotional scars run raw. Peters, who became the first Democrat in decades to flip her district in 2018, now endures a hostage status. Her appeals mirrored in the swamp of violations while the powerful evade scrutiny. Congress, your silence echoes complicity. Where's the outrage for a woman jailed for patriotism? We have to get Tina Peters out, by all means necessary. And Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi, you actually can do something. There is the ability to reach in and take her out as a witness. You're in the midst of a coup of a nation at every state in the country that has been swallowed up and captured by radical leftists. You have the ability to do it. You just go in, pick her up, say, no, we're declaring her a witness because she witnessed it. She was there. And then from there, you've done it in different states. Then you have the opportunity to reset some of the expectations of what's happening in Colorado and around the country. And if that's not enough and you want cases, there's a case right now in Colorado that the feds, you can walk right in, you could arrest the governor, the attorney general, and the secretary of state. All in one swoop, all the information's there, and over $15 million bribery case. It involves Supreme Court justices in a state, by the way, that barred President Trump from being on the ballot. And if that's not enough, you have other judges and you have other attorneys. You have the AUSA in Colorado, which, man, frankly, married to one of the Colorado Supreme Court justices. You have people that are involved in this scheme to defraud the people of Colorado and the people of this country. You just use that. Go and get them. You'd arrest them all. And then at least you'll get to the bottom of this deep well of corruption that you face here in Colorado. We've got to get Tina Peters out. So go over to Untamed. If you didn't get the thing this morning, make sure you sign up and we'll send this stuff out to you so you can talk to your congressman. All right, let's pray it out, shall we? Do I have anything else? Or are we good? Are we still look at comments? E.M, we're all racist. Yes, Maud, he believes that. Saw the letter, also did an all-out email this AM for Tina. Thank you, Gammy, for doing that. Todd Blanche is a Democrat. He lost every case for President Trump, except for the Stormy Daniels case, which anyone that was an attorney could have won that case. Hakeem makes me want to be racist. Okay, Jeff. Liars without morals. I agree with that. Leave this earth with America. How is it? I don't want mass death. Yeah, I don't think any of us do. All right, let's pray. Father God, thank you. We are so grateful. We're grateful for the blessings we have, and even in its darkest day, we still feel the blessings that you put in our lives. Even as we struggle with trials that we have, we do recognize that we are a blessed nation. We're a blessed nation in decline, but we are a blessed nation nonetheless. Father, I just ask you that as we walk through our procure restoration, to bring you back to our country, bring you back to the very way of life, to reject this satanic regime that has been thrust upon us in every way. Reject what they're doing to our children, reject what they're doing with gender fluidity, reject what they're doing in creating an environment where there's no accountability and there's no consequence. We reject it, Father. And I ask you, Father, if you could just protect our leaders, protect President Trump, protect those that are having to make hard decisions. And as we head into this weekend with these No Kings protests, Father, I just ask that you would turn the minds of these young people that are going to be out there, that they may be able to see clearly what is right in front of them and see the deception that is represented by these really, really just strange people. I ask these things, Father, humbly in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. All right. We'll see you guys later. Coca-Cola, you should talk directly with President Trump. Yeah, I should. One day. All right, you guys have a great weekend. Don't have too much fun. Remember, don't drink a lot. Don't drink and drive if you do. Don't punch a terrorist in the face. Don't drive through the No Kings rally. And, just enjoy some time with your family. God bless you all. We'll see you soon.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real, no more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the